Hello everyone, et bienvenue tout le monde. Welcome to the Canadian Science Policy Conference interview series for 2020. My name is Peter Serles, and I'm honored to be joined today by Dr. Alejandro Adem, President of the Natural Science and Engineering Research Council of Canada. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
So, it goes without saying that 2020 has been an unprecedented year for the entire scientific community. While much of the public focus has been on the health side of research, we've seen the impacts across the board, from focused attention to the fundamental natural sciences to rapid engineering and scalability for COVID-specific products. How has NSERC been able to rapidly adapt your programs, initiatives, and priorities during this unprecedented year?
Well, it really has had, I think, a big impact on our programs and on our staff. But I'm very proud that everyone at NSERC was able to switch to working remotely, working from home, and they have adapted extremely well, working very hard, and we have been able to deliver all our programs as regularly scheduled. So this is a big effort, and I really want to thank all my colleagues at NSERC for all the great work that they did with that. We also were able to create some special programs to address the COVID-19 challenge from the point of view of natural sciences and engineering. In particular, through the Alliance program, we gave around $20 million in grants for university and college researchers, partnering with industry, not-for-profits, to deal with the challenges of COVID-19, which have to do with questions in engineering, questions in computer science, etc., that have to do with the possible solutions and things about mask development, etc., etc. So I'm very pleased at how we've stepped up. And we also participated in a number of tri-council initiatives to assist in the support of highly qualified personnel at the universities and also the labs. As you know, the labs had to shut down, and now they're being ramped back up. And it's a process that is expensive, it's time consuming, and we are most interested in supporting the young people who have been affected by the pandemic.
Great, well, that's really good to hear. So you're now coming up to the end of your first year as president of NSERC. Certainly an exciting year to be in this role. What are you most proud of from your first year, and what do you think is the next big step in your position?
Well, yeah, I guess no one told me there was going to be a pandemic when I became president of NSERC, so it was quite an adjustment. But I must say that I'm very impressed by the quality of the staff that we have at NSERC. And my top priority is to develop the talent and the capacity in the agency to deliver for the research community in Canada. So that has meant a few changes, reinforcing the team. We've hired 2 new associate vice presidents for our programs. So really giving support, so then the vice presidents can work more strategically across the whole ecosystem. We've also announced the hiring of a chief data officer. For me, the value of data in making decisions about science programs is essential. We're also creating an innovation unit where we can ourselves innovate and then talk to the community and have this reflected in our programs. So we've been really very active in seeing how we can modernize the agency, bring it up to the best possible level, and be ready to deliver for our community. And we're also working, or in fact, we commissioned a study by the Council for Canadian Academies about best practices in natural sciences and engineering. So this independent panel will be providing this report, which we think of as step 0 for the development of a strategic plan, which we will be working on in the year 2021. So we're looking to the future, and we're looking to have our agency as well prepared and as full of talent and primed to deliver for Canadians, for everyone across the country.
Excellent. Another big topic from this year is the idea of EDI and how everything has been progressing kind of across the world. And NSERC has always had a very strong commitment to EDI, including initiatives such as the NSERC Chairs for Women in Science and Engineering. But what are some of the prominent EDI challenges that you're being faced with right now? What are some of the next steps for NSERC in that direction?
Absolutely. This is a very important aspect of science and engineering. The most immediate concern, of course, is the disproportionate impact on EDI from the COVID-19 crisis. So caregivers, which disproportionately include women and minorities, people from the underrepresented groups have been affected. And there's a differentiation as to how they've been affected from the more classical traditional groups. So we're focusing in right now is how people can tell us about the impact of COVID-19 as they go forward with new proposals. It's very important that we take that into account so that there's a level playing field. Now, one of the things that we did early on was extend the discovery grants with funding for a year. So this will enable our researchers to have 6 years for a 5-year project. And we hope that can mitigate, but certainly not resolve these differences. Now, more generally, the NSERC Council has just created a new standing committee on EDI, which had the same rank, same level as our committee on discovery research and on research partnerships. And this shows our commitment to EDI, not just at a policy level, but also at the level of implementation in our programs. Because as you know, going from the theory, the fact that EDI is important, to actually seeing it in the programs, to having it represented across the board in everything you do, it takes a considerable amount of work. And we have to be, of course, collaborating with the universities, with the colleges as they access our programs and explaining so that they understand the importance of the EDI component in every proposal. And also, we ourselves have to live the values of the EDI and work to recruit more people from underrepresented groups in our own agency. And we are, of course, also very interested in developing indigenous research, working with the indigenous, the Métis, the Inuit community on research issues, co-ownership of research, working with them and learning from them, and doing extensive consultations. And of course, one of the key things about EDI is that it's something that you can't do generically across the board. You have to be granular about the particular disciplines. And you yourself as an engineer, you understand, I'm a mathematician, we understand the special challenges that we face, for example, in recruiting more women to our profession in certain areas of STEM. The problems of representation are quite acute. But we also understand that a lot of the problems come from K through 12 and the way folks are educated, and not enough people are attracted into the STEM disciplines. And I know there's a lot of research about how you can attract more women into STEM, also underrepresented groups, and in particular the indigenous community. How do we give them the opportunity of benefiting from all the great STEM disciplines and also all the great jobs that come from a STEM education, right? So these are issues that we want to be facing on several fronts. And I think that it's a difficult challenge, but we are 100% committed to that. And we're working closely with the community to learn the best practices on this. Another important aspect, of course, is the development of a more holistic view of research assessment. We signed the DORA, the San Francisco Declaration on Research Assessment, which steers us away from the obsession with bibliometrics. You know, it used to be that everything was decided by where you published, right? And there's impact. People's work can be evaluated more broadly as to the impact on training, impact on the community, et cetera, et cetera. So that those best practices are being developed, and they will be incorporated in the evaluation of proposals. So I'm optimistic that we will have a fairer, more open system to evaluate excellence, and therefore to see an increase in the number of underrepresented groups. But it's something we have to be working on every day.
Well, that's certainly a very good first step. It's great to hear that there's tangible action being put in place and lots more in the pipeline as well. So thank you. And with an entirely virtual Canadian Science Policy Conference this year, this will be a new experience for many and an opportunity to reach an even wider audience than ever. You'll be a speaker on 2 panels, a plenary with the Canadian Research Coordinating Committee about Canada's research response to COVID-19, and a symposium session regarding new solutions to old workplace problems of EDI, as we were just talking about. Plus, I've seen that NSERC is organizing 3 panels on research excellence, open access, and the Dimensions program. As a longtime supporter of the CSPC, what are you most looking forward to with this new online platform and with this year's conference?
Well, first I want to say that I'm a real enthusiast of the CSPC. For us, it is the main policy event in Canada and of the year. And we really want to thank you and the whole team for putting together that conference, because it really gives us an opportunity to work, to talk to people, and to talk about policy in a context which is within science and engineering. So for us, it's very important. That's why you see such a vigorous participation by the NSERC people. Well, I think the virtual aspect gives you, I think, much greater accessibility. As I like to point out to our friends, there are things that are happening outside of Ottawa and outside of Toronto and Montreal, and you can allow for a participation through the virtual. You can allow a broader participation. More people can listen in much more easily, and you can be more inclusive in that sense. So it's an opportunity. It also reduces the carbon footprint, and there are all sorts of positive things you can say. Of course, it's not the same as getting together, and I understand that, but in terms of the situation we live in, powering ahead and getting policy discussions about how we will power ahead to the COVID-19 and what will be emerging, because there's already having the discussions about what kind of landscape will be emerging. So I think the virtual format is not a bad one. I've participated in a number of meetings in the virtual setting, and they've been quite successful. So kudos for setting that up. I know there's some specific challenges to the virtual conference, but by now I think people have learned to unmute. And I think it'll be a very interesting and successful meeting.
Great. Well, thank you. That's great to hear. And I very much look forward to having you at that this year.
Pleasure to be there.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and taking the time to answer these questions today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I look forward to seeing you in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you too.
Take care.